Days before turning 37, on August 16, 2026, Hayden Panettiere passed away. The news spread so quickly that most admirers only knew about it from the few words her own father used to describe her. He referred to her as a force of nature and an amazing light. Beneath that succinct remark lies a much larger story. A family already burdened by bereavement, a daughter growing up across the ocean, and a fortune valued at anywhere from $6 to $15 million. What precisely does Hayden Panettiere leave behind then? Let's investigate. The latest on her death and the unanswered questions. The news arrived on a Sunday night. In a brief statement, Panettiere's father, Skip Panettiere, described her as an amazing light and a force of nature who brought immense love and joy to everyone who knew her, both personally and through the millions of people who watched her on screen. Her representative confirmed to ABC News that Panettiere had passed away at the age of 36. He concluded by requesting privacy while the family deals with what he described as an unfathomable loss. This plea was repeated verbatim by practically all of the major media outlets that carried the story that evening. Anyone who had been following her closely over the previous few months was especially affected by the timing. She appeared on podcasts and daytime shows to promote her memoir, spending a large portion of the spring on a real press tour. By most accounts, she seemed more confident and at ease than she has in years. The story circulated quickly across platforms that seldom cover the same celebrity news at the same speed because of this contrast. A woman who appeared to be on stable footing dying so suddenly just weeks later. The situation is still really murky. The Saturday before she passed away, Panettiere and her intermittent boyfriend, actor Brian Hickerson, were said to have flown from Los Angeles to the southern United States. Greenville, South Carolina police confirmed they had responded to an incident and launched a preliminary investigation. Although the cause and method of death had not been made public when this film was being put together, officials there said that preliminary results showed no indications of foul play or unusual circumstances. Reporters were informed by her spokesperson, Casey Kitchen, that an inquiry was underway. Since then, this statement has appeared in numerous headlines with little additional information. Older court documents contain an odd, quiet tidbit that is directly related to the journey to South Carolina. In 2018, soon after Panettiere and Hickerson began dating, police were summoned to Hickerson's father's South Carolina home after the two men got into a drunken fight. According to reports, Panettiere was the one who answered the door for the responding authorities. Years later, the last chapter of her life took place in that same location. Although this coincidence has not received much attention, it adds a disturbing dimension to an already agonizing tale for those closely following the couple's past. As soon as word got out, tributes started to arrive. In a post, Viola Davis, who co-starred with Panettiere in the 2016 movie Custody, expressed her longing for more time with the world and compared it to witnessing a stunning phoenix rise from the ashes. She also mentioned that Panettiere's tests had become her testimony. Co-stars from Bring It On, Heroes, and Nashville tweeted similar remarks that same evening, according to NBC News coverage. Several of them described a warmth in private that seldom showed up in her public interviews. A little detail that kept coming up in the hours after her death was confirmed was that she had a tendency of memorizing the names and family information of everyone on set, including camera operators and background actors. According to a few former Nashville staff members, it helps to go back to the beginning, long before Claire Bennet or Juliette Barnes ever existed, back to a baby being booked for her first ad before she could even crawl. In order to comprehend why so many people from so many different facets of pop culture felt that loss so personally. A career that started before she could walk. Hayden Leslie Panettiere was born on August 21, 1989, in Palisades, New York, to Alan Skip Panettiere, a fire captain, and Leslie Vogel, a former soap opera actress who later oversaw her daughter's early career. At the age of 11 months, she made her debut in a commercial. By the time she was 4 years old, she had secured a recurrent part on the ABC serial opera One Life to Live. 2 years later, she moved to Guiding Light, where the young actress received a special accolade from the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society for her character's battle with leukemia. This element, which is rarely included in contemporary honors, influenced how early audiences initially associated with her. She as Cheryl Yost opposite Denzel Washington in Remember the Titans, voiced Princess Dot in Pixar's A Bug's Life, and alternated between family movies like Raising Helen and Ice Princess during her early adolescence. None of it adequately prepared viewers for 2006, when a 15-year-old cheerleader with the ability to heal from any wound became a household name virtually. Overnight, the healing cheerleader plot became so important to the show's marketing that Panettiere's face appeared on more Heroes merchandise than any other cast members, including the actors portraying the show's title characters. Claire Bennet on NBC's Heroes kept her on primetime television for 4 seasons. After the show concluded in 2010, she was cast as Juliette Barnes, a merciless and gifted country singer on the ABC musical drama Nashville. During her 6-season stint, she received 2 Golden Globe nominations and became one of Music City's most well-known faces. For years, longtime fans of the show have pointed out that there were rumors that Juliette Barnes was loosely inspired by actual country musicians of the time. Panettiere repeatedly refuted these rumors, stating that the character was not modeled after any particular performer, despite the frequent online comparisons. She went on to play Kirby Reed in Scream 4 and Scream 6, narrate audiobooks, voice Kyrie in the Kingdom Hearts video game series, a role that introduced her to a whole new generation of Heroes fans who had never seen an episode, and provide the voice of Kate in Alpha and Omega. Her career, which spanned more than 3 decades and touched almost every format the entertainment industry had to offer, including daytime soap operas, network prestige dramas, horror franchises, and animated video games, came to a quiet conclusion earlier this year with her final credited role in the direct-to-video thriller Sleepwalker. Beginning in the 9th grade, her formal education came to an end with private tutors. This arrangement is typical for young performers, but it deprived her of many of the customary milestones that her colleagues went through. She completely departed the traditional classroom after graduating from South Orangetown Middle School, and she has stated in previous interviews that she originally thought about taking a break from acting to pursue higher school before Heroes rendered that plan unfeasible. When asked about her surname, which roughly translates to Baker in Italian, and is frequently mispronounced by fans who never quite land on the correct 4-syllable rhythm, she occasionally mentioned that her family has Italian roots in addition to some English and German ancestry. The present flood of tribute media almost completely ignores a different aspect of Panettiere that has nothing to do with performing and reveals a lot about who she was before stardom ever became a routine. The fortune, the activism, and the fights she chose to wage. According to reports gathered after her death, her net worth ranged from $6 million to approximately $15 million. This disparity is significant enough to highlight the unreliability of celebrity wealth estimates once you go beyond a single headline salary figure. The majority of her wealth was found in Nashville, where she reportedly made about $75,000 per episode over the course of the show's 124 episodes, or nearly $9.3 million from that role alone. According to a breakdown of her finances released earlier this year, Heroes reportedly brought in nearly $2 million more, and Scream 4 brought in an additional $1 million. These numbers do not even account for her years as the face of brands like Neutrogena, Candies, Coles, and Dooney & Bourke, for which she once created a limited-edition calfskin purse in 2008. Within the larger narrative, Real estate tells its own little tale. In 2008, she paid about $2.6 million for a house in the Hollywood Hills, which she sold for slightly more than $3 million in 2014. Later, in October 2018, she sold a Nashville property for $165 million, coinciding with the period when her personal life was falling apart behind the scenes. This coincidence probably explains why estimates of her final estate vary so much, ranging from $6 million to $15 million, depending on which aggregator you trust. However, an 18-year-old Panettiere was already using her leverage on something more riskier than a brand agreement long before any of that financial picture took shape. She joined Sea Shepherd, activists paddling surfboards into a cove in Taiji, Japan, in October 2007 as the official spokesman for the Whaleman Foundation's Save the Whales Again campaign in an effort to interfere with the town's yearly dolphin hunt. The clash was eventually documented in The Cove, the documentary that went on to win the Oscar for Best Documentary Feature. The demonstrators were pushed back to shore by fishermen using poles. A few weeks later, it was reported that Japan had issued an arrest warrant against her for interfering with the hunt. She publicly